What is the main reason why people making their own will to worshiping, praising, and give offering in their own way and not according to the commandment of Yahuah is dangerous and not acceptable? This video is for reference purposes only. I highly encourage everyone to read the scriptures for much better understanding. Scriptural warnings against worshiping Yahuah according to human will. The scriptures reveal that Yahuah does not accept worship created by human desire, tradition, or personal feeling. From the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, Yahuah repeatedly warns that people who approach him in ways he did not command are rejected. True worship is not based on human intention but on strict obedience to what Yahuah has commanded. Do not add or remove from Yahuah's commandments. Deuteronomy 12 verse 32. All the words I am commanding you, guard to do it. Do not add to it nor take away from it. Deuteronomy 4 verse 2. Do not add to the word which I command you, and do not take away from it, so as to guard the commands of Yahuah your Elohim, which I am commanding you. This establishes the foundation of true worship. Yahuah alone defines how he is to be worshipped. Any human modification, even if it seems sincere, is rebellion against his authority. When people create their own forms of praise, celebrations, offerings, or religious practices that are not commanded, they are adding to the word of Yahuah. Nadab and Abihu offered strange fire, Leviticus 10:1-2, and Nadab and Anihu, the sons of Aharon, each took his fire holder and put fire in it, and put incense on it, and brought strange fire before Yahuah, which he had not commanded them. And fire came out from Yahuah and consumed them, and they died before Yahuah. These men were priests, they were not pagans, they were servants in the sanctuary. Yet they decided to worship Yahuah in a way he did not command. The scripture does not say they worshipped another god. It says they offered strange fire which Yahuah commanded them not. This proves a critical principle. Yahuah does not accept worship invented by human decision. Yasharal worshipped Yahuah through the golden calf, Exodus 32 verse 4-5. And he took this from their hand, and he formed it with an engraving tool, and made a molded calf. And they said, This is your mighty one, O Yasharal, that brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Aharon saw and built a slaughter place before it. And Aharon called out and said, Tomorrow is a festival to Yahuah. The people did not say they were worshiping a different deity. They declared a feast to Yahuah. But they worshipped him through a symbol he did not command. This shows that worshiping Yahuah through humanly created methods or images is abomination, even if people claim it is for him. Do not learn the way of the nations to worship Yahuah. Deuteronomy 12 verse 30-31. Guard yourself that you are not ensnared to follow them, after they are destroyed from before you, and that you do not inquire about their mighty ones, saying, How did these nations serve their mighty ones? And let me do so too. Do not do so to Yahuah your Elohim, for every abomination which Yahuah hates, they have done to their mighty ones, for they even burn their sons and daughters in the fire to their mighty ones. Yahuah specifically warns against adopting worship methods from other nations. This includes customs, rituals, festivals, religious practices. Even if people say they are doing it for Yahuah, he commands that his people must not worship him in the way the nations worship. Human traditions cancel the commandments. Matthew 15 verse 7-9. Hypocrites, Yeshayahu rightly prophesied about you, saying, These people draw near to me with their mouth and respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching as teachings the commands of men. This declares that worship becomes vain when it is built on human religious teachings. The people may sing, pray, praise, and perform religious acts, but if those practices are based on commandments of men, Yahuah declares their worship empty. King Saul offered sacrifice against command. 1 Samuel 13 verse 12-13. So I said, The Philistines are going to come down on me at Gilgal, and I have not appeased the face of Yahuah. So I felt compelled and offered an ascending offering. And Shemuel said to Shaul, You have been foolish. You have not guarded the command of Yahuah your Elohim, which he commanded you. For now Yahuah would have established your reign over Yasharal forever. Saul did something that appeared religious. He offered a sacrifice, but he was not authorized. This shows that intention does not justify disobedience. Obedience is greater than sacrifice. 1 Samuel 15 verse 22-23. Then Shemuel said, Does Yahuah delight in ascending offerings and slaughterings, as in obeying the voice of Yahuah? Look, to obey is better than a slaughtering, to heed is better than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of divination, and stubbornness is as wickedness and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of Yahuah, he also does reject you as sovereign. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. This reveals a crucial truth. Yahuah does not seek religious performance. He seeks obedience. When people choose their own way of worship instead of his commandments, Scripture calls it rebellion. Jeroboam invented his own feasts. 1 Kings 12, verse 32 to 33. And Jeroboam performed a festival on the 15th day of the 8th new moon, like the festival that was in Yehudah, and he offered on the slaughter place. So he did at Bethel, slaughtering to the calves that he had made. And at Bethel he appointed the priests of the high places which he had made. And he made offerings on the slaughter place which he had made at Bethel on the 15th day of the 8th new moon, in the new moon which he had devised in his own heart. And he performed a festival for the children of Yasharal, and offered on the slaughter place and burned incense. This king created his own religious system. He invented new feast days, new altars, new priesthood. Scripture states clearly that these things were devised from his own heart. This is exactly how human religion begins. Yahuah hates self-chosen worship. Colossians 2 verse 23. These indeed have an appearance of wisdom in self-imposed worship, humiliation and harsh treatment of the body, of no value at all, only for satisfaction of the flesh. A will of worship means worship created by human will. It looks religious. It appears holy, but it is self-invented. Scripture declares that worship based on human will has no value before Yahuah. Many people think they are serving Yahuah. Isaiah 29 verse 13. And Yahuah says, "Because this people has drawn near with its mouth, and with its lips they have esteemed me, and it has kept its heart far from me, and their fear of me has become a command of men that is taught." This is a prophetic warning. People may think they are serving Yahuah, but if their religion is taught by human traditions, their worship is rejected. The scriptures reveal a powerful and consistent warning. Yahuah does not accept worship created by human will. True worship requires obedience, submission, faithfulness to his commandments. Any religious practice that is not commanded by Yahuah, even if it is done with sincerity, becomes vain worship. The path of life is not to follow religious traditions, but to return to the commandments of Yahuah exactly as they were given. Here are additional scriptural warnings against false or self-created worship, continuing in the same pattern with deep, direct, scripture-based understanding. Cain's offering was rejected. Genesis 4 verse 3 to 5. And it came to be, in the course of time, that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahuah, and Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And Yahuah looked to Abel and his offering, but he did not look to Cain and his offering. And Cain was very wroth, and his face fell. He brought what he chose. This shows, not all offerings are accepted, even if given to Yahuah. Worship must align with his requirement, not human preference. Strange incense is forbidden. Exodus 30 verse 9. Do not offer strange incense on it, or an ascending offering or a grain offering, and do not pour a drink offering on it. Yahuah defines even the details of worship. Any alteration means strange worship. Unauthorized priests are rejected. Numbers 16 verse 40. A remembrance to the children of Yasharal, that no stranger who is not of the seed of Aharon should come near to offer incense before Yahuah, and not be like Korah and his company. As Yahuah had said to him through Moshe, not everyone can approach Yahuah any way they want. How can we have access, Yahuah? To be obedience to his commanded, not self-decided. King Uzziah was struck for unauthorized worship. 2 Chronicles 26 verse 16 to 19. But when he became strong, his heart was lifted up to his destruction. For he trespassed against Yahuah his Elohim by entering the Hekal or temple of Yahuah to burn incense on the slaughter place of incense. And Azariah the priest went in after him, and with him were 80 priests of Yahuah, who were brave men. And they stood up against sovereign Uzziah and said to him, It is not for you, Uzziah, to burn incense to Yahuah, but for the priests, the sons of Aharon, who are set apart to burn incense. Get out of the set-apart place, for you have trespassed, and there is no esteem to you from Yahuah Ahim. As a result, he was struck with leprosy. This proves that status does not override command. Yahuah rejects offerings done in disobedience. Isaiah 1 verse 11 to 13. Of what use to me are your many slaughterings, declares Yahuah. I have had enough of ascending offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts. I do not delight in the blood of bulls, or of lambs or goats. When you come to appear before me, who has required this from your hand to trample my courtyards? Stop bringing futile offerings, incense. It is an abomination to me. New moons, Sabbaths, the calling of gatherings. I am unable to bear unrighteousness and assembly. The people were doing commandments, but living in disobedience. Their worship became abomination. Heart and obedience must align. Amos 5, verse 21 to 23. I have hated, I have despised your festivals, and I am not pleased with your assemblies. Though you offer me ascending offerings and your grain offerings, I do not accept them, nor do I look on your fattened peace offerings. Take away from me the noise of your songs, for I do not hear the sound of your stringed instruments. Even feasts and songs, when corrupted, are rejected. This destroys the idea that as long as it's for Yahuah, it's accepted. False prophets teach false worship. Jeremiah 7 verse 31, and they have built the high places of Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I did not command, nor did it come into my heart. This phrase is critical. If Yahuah did not command it, it did not come from him. Worship without obedience is hatred to Yahuah. Proverbs 28 verse 9. He who turns away his ear from hearing the Torah, even his prayer is an abomination. This is direct. If a person rejects the law, even their prayers are rejected. False zeal without knowledge. Romans 10 verse 2 to 3. For I bear them witness that they have an ardor for Elohim, but not according to knowledge. For not knowing the righteousness of Elohim, and seeking to establish their own righteousness, they did not subject themselves to the righteousness of Elohim. False zeal without knowledge, not acceptable worship. Sincerity without truth was also error. We need to worship in spirit and truth. John 4 verse 23 to 24. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father also does seek such to worship him. Elohim is spirit, and those who worship him need to worship in spirit and truth. The only truth is his word, not human tradition. Do not follow majority in error. Exodus 23 verse 2. Do not follow a crowd to do evil, nor bear witness in a strife so as to turn aside after many, to turn aside what is right. Majority religion does not equal true worship. False worship leads to destruction. Hosea 4 verse 6. My people have perished for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I reject you from being priest for me. Since you have forgotten the Torah of your Elohim, I also forget your children. Ignorance of his commandments will lead us to destruction. True worship is commanded by Yahuah, done in obedience, not altered by man. False worship is invented by human will, influenced by nations, based on tradition, rooted in disobedience. When man chooses how to worship, Yahuah rejects it. When man obeys exactly, Yahuah accepts it. The end-time warning concerning false worship. This is where the scriptures become even more sharp. The root of false worship is the heart. Ezekiel 14 verse 3. Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their hearts, and have put the stumbling block of their crookedness before their face. Should I let them inquire of me at all? False worship does not begin with actions. It begins in the heart. When a person desires in their own way, their own understanding, their own comfort, they create a form of worship that matches that desire. This is idolatry, even without a physical idol. The pattern is this. From command to alteration to corruption, the scriptures show a repeated pattern. Yahuah gives command. Man adds, changes, and removes. Worship becomes corrupted. Then judgment follows. If you want a part 2 of this topic, I can make a part 2 video to discuss more verses why people that making their own will to worshiping, praising, and give offering in their own way, and not according to the commandment of Yahuah, is dangerous and not acceptable. Thank you for watching, and see you on my next video. May Yahuah baruch us and guide us. Shalom, and have a great Yom.